What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. And the story, two J6 organizers are coming forward and naming names. Ooh, we're turning it all over after losing faith. In 45, the pair plan to hand over text messages, Instagram direct messages, and other documents related to the planning of the J6 rally. Okay. This whole thing is being used for one purpose. They use the term our democracy. Do you think that Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, and Nancy Pelosi care about our democracy? If you do, please tell me why. Maybe I'm being too harsh on them. I have seen no evidence of that. If you care about our democracy, then you care about people, because that's where it starts. And the people that were there at J6 made a mistake. It was stupid. I mean, what was accomplished from it? Nothing. But I still stand for them with their rights, and I understand why they're frustrated, even though I don't agree with what they did. J6 was doomed from the start as far as the committee goes. Minority GOP leader Kevin McCarthy placed 5 people up to put on this J6 committee to make it balanced, so we can have a double perspective, so it could be fair. Nancy Pelosi rejected 2 of those people, Jim Jordan and Jim Banks, so Kevin McCarthy said, I'm done. I'm taking all of them out. It's a biased committee. Nancy Pelosi chose Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. They're not impartial Republicans. They're the same as Democrats. They're going after text messages, and this isn't a criminal court. Congress only has the ability to do legislation. They're a legislative body. So any committee they put together, they got tons of them. I listened to a lot of it. And all of it is for drafting legislation.
They say that they're looking at legislation, but it's quite clear that's not what they're doing. I mean, what legislation is exactly are they investigating?
They're treating this thing like the third impeachment of 45. Is that where you want your tax dollars going? Or do you want to get the J6 people tried, convicted, whatever the case, sentenced, and let's go on with our way? Because obviously they're not looking for some type of impartial fact-finding thing. Everything's going to be against the J6 people. So what are we doing here? What's the purpose? The FBI already looked into this. They found no evidence of coordination. Democrats are the ones that they create these rules in their primary where they can have super delegates do whatever they want. They override and fight third-party candidates off ballots everywhere, them and the Republicans. The J6 committee, technically they say our democracy, but they're also the victims because J6 rushed up into their workplace. So they're victims, they're the victims, they're the judge, the jury, the executioners. I mean, this is a sham kangaroo court if I've ever seen one.
This unlike all of those committees, this committee wasn't formed that way. The Pelosi refused to put on anybody that the minority member leadership requested.
They get to call it bipartisan by doing that.
Yeah, let's talk about populism. That's where our democracy really lies. Great tweet here by Will. He defined a populist. He said, an actual populist is fiercely pro-labor, strict immigration laws to protect U.S. workers, supports tariffs policies that disincentivize manufacturing overseas, anti-interventionist foreign policy, etc., governing on behalf of working masses, not international corporations. That's what attacking J6 is about. That's what defining them as our democracy is about, these corporatists. So you don't ever think about that as a populist. Populists left and right would agree with all those things. Pro-labor, strict immigration, supports tariffs, policies that keep jobs here. Non-interventionist, meaning we're not the world's police in foreign policy, governing on behalf of the working masses. Steve Bannon and Jimmy Dore would both largely agree with everything right there. Populists right and left. So that's why you have to say, J6, our democracy is not enough. It was also about white supremacy to create that divide. Bernie Sanders shows that perfectly. He was at one time the face of the populist left, and now he's lost that. But when he was, Remember, Bernie Sanders used to support immigration laws protecting U.S. workers just like Steve Bannon. Now he's for open borders because it's not politically convenient anymore. He doesn't want to look racist or insensitive, even though that was never the position. The only difference on that take there between Steve Bannon and Bernie Sanders is Steve Bannon doesn't care what you call him. That's not what I'm about. I'm for it because of this. There's a process to become a U.S. citizen. I'm all for that. There are differences, but if the populist left and right both controlled government, we would not be in the mess that we're in right now. The populist left would want to spend more money, but it wouldn't be this constant beef. The real situation, the real reason we have this beef is because we have the corporatists in charge, and they drive that wedge of race, gender, sexual preference between the populist left and right, and then we just divide. Instead of saying, well, Steve Bannon and Jimmy Dore, why don't we combine forces? It's beyond frustrating to watch. Like Steve Bannon is a racist with no proof. I don't know what's in the man's heart, so I'm not going to say he's not a racist, but there's no proof that he's one. Jimmy Dore, remember he interviewed the Boogaloo Boy a couple times, I think. Got nothing but flack for that. Why? He wasn't condoning anything. He was just having a conversation with somebody. That's populism. You want to know who the frauds are? The frauds are, you can start with anyone who's talking about race, gender, this identity, that identity. J6 as white supremacy. J6, our democracy is under attack. When you hear people say that, their goal is to divide. They are a fraud on either side. I don't know when common people became the target, and we might be at the bottom, because if we wanted to start a civil war, there was an article in the New York Times. This is mainstream now. Like, we just have to acknowledge it. If we wanted to start a civil war on purpose, I don't know what we would be doing differently right now. They obviously want to try again to stop Trump from running in 2024. There's nothing that they could do to do that wouldn't cause really bad things. I don't know. So common people have become the target, and we might be at the bottom, but sometimes that's when you come the hardest. We've got to think smart and logically. Enough beef. Let me know what you think. Take care.
Since I started rapping, there's been enough beef and enough gat clapping. I done became a target. From the bottom became the hardest artist in the game. The first time it started to market my name, I started to change. Smart but hardly could think logically. The insane part of me laying inside of me says pardon me, so I part with the same side of me. I hang out with the same guys. Either they not noticing the game changing me, or they ain't watching me. Bitches saying hi to me. Niggas who ain't hot as me. Picturing me slaying niggas getting plain tired of me. Looking down at him when he got the same drive as me. We the same, niggas aim just as high as me. Everything is the same with us, but the thing is I came in here with a different anxiety. Hopefully the day I retire is approaching me. Looking back like those were the days I was fly. From the mistakes to wait and to be patient. Wrong turns did take up a lot of time, but I finally found my way around. Now I'm wiser. I thank God that I made it out alive.
A lot of shit has happened since I started rapping. A lot of shit has happened since I started rapping. A lot of shit has happened since I started rapping. There's been enough beef and enough gat clapping.
One man rises, another falls. To discover all is one and one is all. I come to call like Jericho with the trumpets. It's wild in the hundreds, Gramps in the choir humming. The Lord soon cometh. From blow some grow. Many stay stunned. Talks with the shorties knowing I learned from it. Keep the dumb shit from my circumference. I run with niggas that wanted it, done it, the hunted and blunted. L said it gotta come from the stomach. To me the stomach is the voice of the Lord. The revolutionary people's choice, the award. Seeing souls move forward, goals move toward new homes and new floors for us to rise to. In the attic taping up my Bible, thinking how can I apply it to survival. The un-American idol, seeing vital signs of the times. I put it in my rhymes. A lot of shit has happened.
A lot of shit has happened since I started rapping. A lot of shit has happened since I started rapping. A lot of shit has happened since I started rapping. There's been enough beef and enough gat clapping.
Welcome lambs to the slaughter. It's the most important moment in my life since the birth of my daughters. Regardless, all is well in the universe. Premiere track and Chino who cannot spit a rap verse. My first CD's basically made me Marky Mark with the whole planet of the apes chasing me. Was here to save you all. Now rap ain't worth saving, but I can't hit the pavement with gay shit like Craig David. Vocal arrangements, even basic. I'm still the hottest nigga to spit inside of my cousin Tigger basement. I've no replacement for what's seeming like ages. I ain't no hypochondriac complaining I stay sick. Standing ovations for acapella situations. I get better with agents, everybody's observation. Starvation to brawl, the last samurai. Take an eye for an eye to the world go blind. I'm bovine, raging bull. Words are my weapons, hope they not over your head like Kangos in 87. I moved from Jersey to Cali, feeling the love. Moved moms to Miami, promised I would. Beef and drama I've been in, you wouldn't last through. What's funny, motherfucker, I wanna laugh too. But now I'm ready to get rich, old dog, new tricks. So ill, could dig to China with chopsticks. When I switch to the big leagues this year with no fear. Cause who'd even believe that I'd be
A
here?
lot of shit has happened since I started rapping. A lot of shit has happened since I started rapping. A lot of shit has happened since I started rapping. There's been enough beef and enough gat clapping.
Back to basics.